Hello, everybody. It's the Worm, and welcome back to Steins Gate. Now, I have an announcement to make here, and it's going to sound a bit strange, I think, but ultimately, I think it will be for the better here. This upcoming episode here, the one you're watching right now, it's actually going to be the second time I've recorded this part of the game. And I've kind of just been thinking about it all morning, and I finally decided to do it. So, as a bit of an explanation, last night I went ahead and recorded the episode as normal, and it all went fine, but as I went to bed that night, I found myself feeling more and more unsatisfied, and especially this morning, that feeling really intensified, and so I've decided to do it again, really. And it's not like there was any technical difficulty or something like that. Really, what just happened was uh, I felt like I had to record last night. Currently, it is the day I upload, so this will probably be uploaded, recorded and uploaded the same day, and I usually don't like to do that, but anyway, I tried to finish it last night, and what ended up happening was I don't think my performance was very good. I was very tired, and for one thing, a lot of pretty interesting and complicated ideas are going to be introduced, and I felt like I wasn't able to properly either understand, or I felt like I was rambling a lot, and it really didn't feel good by the end of it. So essentially, I'm going to give this a second shot right now, and hopefully it'll be better. Now, that unfortunately takes away the blind aspect to this section, but I'm hoping you'll just take my word that it really wasn't a good. It didn't. To me, it didn't feel good. I felt like if I just released what I had recorded yesterday, it would not reflect well on me or this playthrough. So I hope you'll forgive me for that. It just, I think I'll feel a lot better doing this over again now. So, and now this will also, now that I've had a bit of time to think about it, I'll have a bit more to say, I think, or at least I won't be as rambly, or what I say isn't as unfocused as before. So that's my hope here. Where did we leave off last time? It was actually a pretty dang wholesome series of events. Sousa had tried to find her dad, and unfortunately she was unable to do so. And so, Okabe decided to go or send a message to the previous day in order to get him to actually go out and find her, which he seems to have done successfully, and they had a nice whole party for her. And I gotta give props when he deserves props. Okabe, in this instance, I think we're being shown, one, how Okabe, under this veneer of the Chuni personality, does actually care for people, and two, I think it's showing sort of ways that this time travel can be used for good. So that was the big event from last time, and there's one thing I'm going to be trying to pay attention for, which is right before Okabe changed the past, we got a couple messages from Mayuri and Daru saying that the satellite that was in Radikhan had disappeared. So I'm going to be on the lookout for any sort of mention of that. And because if it's still there, I think that'll be very telling. So, let's dive back into this and start with this strange sky before us. I open my eyes to a deep vermilion sky. I'm on my back, lying face up. The sky is vast and the color ominous. I've never seen anything like this before in my entire life. Where am I? I sit up. There is nothing here. A wasteland stretches to the horizon, nothing but rocks and dust as far as the eye can see. No plants, no water, no sun, no moon, no warmth, no cold. Not a single breath of wind. It looks like hell. A frozen world. It can't be Earth. Mars, I could believe. Why am I here? This must be a dream. I give up thinking about it and lie down again on the sand. I guess I'll wake up soon. I should just wait until then. I wait, but the dream shows no sign of ending. Have I ever had a dream this lucid before? There's a terrible ringing in my ears that keeps me awake. I realize that it's the sound of silence. My belongings are gone. I have no watch, no phone. Lack of motion numbs my sense of time. How long have I been lying here? It might have been only a second. It might have been 3 days. An epiphany. The concept of time is a human construct. The universe at large has no use for it. Time is a cage that we created to feel secure. Within its walls, we can forget our own insignificance. I'm thirsty. It hurts to breathe. This void is no place for a human. We're not strong enough to live in a world without time. Tears fill my eyes. What do they mean? I no longer know. I want to die. Yes, let's die. But what is death? To be frozen in time? Time stopped for me long ago. How can I die in a world that is already dead? Everything inside me is crumbling away. Who am I? I can barely recall. My soul is melting into the void. Is someone there? Anyone? Something moves in the corner of my eye. Impossible. I try to move my eyes, but I've forgotten how. Now, I do have to say, I think my sound settings are a bit off. It shouldn't be off for you. It was just a bit off for me. When I heard this the first time, it made me jump. Because, one, it's just creepy. Two, it was loud. It was quite loud for me. So this shook me. If there's anything I regret about having to do this over again, it's not having my first reaction to this. But I can assure you, I was suitably creeped out. A pleasant voice silences the buzzing in my ears. It reminds me of who I am. It confirms my existence as Okabe Rintoro. This time, my eyes move. There's a girl sitting on a nearby rock. I recognize her. My frozen brain comes alive. Her presence breathes new life into this dead world. Mayuri? My brain is still half asleep and I cannot speak. It's Mayuri. Shina Mayuri, my oldest friend. She smiles at me, swinging her legs. Oh boy. This is a dream, right?
ンを追いかけてたくさんの世界線のすべてのオカリンを探し続けてきたのです。
Now here's where things start to get very interesting.
ここにいるオカリンもたくさんいるオカリンのうちの一人って言えるし、オリジナルでもあるって言えるの。ここにいるマユシーもたくさんいるマユシーのうちの一人って言えるし、オリジナルでもあるって言えるの。でね、オカリンもマユシーもここで死んじゃうと思う。
Ugh. This is a dream. Right, Mayuri?
でもきっと7000万年後の秋葉原にいるオカリンとマユシーまで意志は連続していくんだって思うな。だから大丈夫だよ。
これは夢だ。
Ooh. That was still kind of hard to get through the second time. Okay. So yeah, let's talk a bit. I'm going to try and mention the things I mentioned previously, or in the first time I went through here. So what caught my attention immediately was, of course, these three lines right here. You're one of many ocarins and also the original. Mayushi is one of many Mayushis and also the original. Mayushi went looking for you and found ocarins from many, many world lines. And that's, well, what I mentioned was, I've kind of been wavering back and forth between multiple timelines versus single timelines, and I think I've been leaning more towards multiple timelines. Whether or not that's something, whether or not that's actually an important distinction to make in the story, I'm not sure yet. But looking at these sentences, it's like the game saying both of them are true somehow. You're one of many ocarins, but there's also an original? What does that mean? I don't know. And of course, hearing something like this and something like this, I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping this is a dream, because that's terrifying. That's... Ugh. And the idea that Mayuri... I mean, I don't know, if it isn't a dream, or a vision, or something, I don't know. I'm not sure if she knew ahead of time, but the idea that Mayuri would travel so far and make such an effort just to be with Ocarina as they die together, I mean, that was haunting. I said this at the end. Well, I'll wait till the point where we actually get to, and then I'll say it again. But yeah, that was definitely a lot. Also, I had a little aside where I talked about, where is it? Where? Lucid dreaming. Yeah, I mentioned, I told a little story. I don't think I may have, there are a couple instances where I'm kind of on the fence about it, but there's only really one time that I can recall that I ever actually had a real and true lucid dream, where you are aware it's a dream, control the dream, and can interact with it. And it was so surreal, because I can recall, I think it happened in a moment where I was going from fully asleep to awake. It was kind of half asleep moment. And I can't even recall what it's like I was dreaming normally, and then it got interrupted, and then I became fully aware in the middle of it, because I remember it was something like I was in a room full of people, and then it paused. Like I'm sure it was, something was happening, but then it paused, and I realized what was going on, that it was a dream. And that wasn't the surreal part. The surreal part was, I can recall moving my hands and touching things. Like I think there were people and tables, and I would touch a table, or I would touch the arm of a person, and I could feel it. Like I could actually feel the sensation of touch, and it was so incredible. And then I fully awoke shortly thereafter. So I'm sure I think there are a certain set of people that they are able to lucid dream more often, or something like that. It was, I'd kind of be interested in doing that again, but I have no idea what caused, or what circumstances led to me having that lucid dream. But yeah, certainly for Okabe's sake, and for my own emotions, I'm gonna hope that scene was a dream. But I'm a bit worried that it won't be. I'm a bit worried that that's gonna be something that actually happens, or maybe has happened would be the proper way to say it. Okay, let's continue on. I jerk awake on top of the sofa. My body is drenched in sweat. I must have fallen asleep sometime around noon. And of course we get the main menu music. I think I said it later, but I'll say it now. This is the thing I was referring to a second ago. I really get the feeling with this episode here that we've crossed some sort of threshold. Because the topics we're about to talk about, they get very intense. So let's continue on. I must have fallen asleep sometime around noon. What a horrible nightmare. I guess that threatening email I got is still weighing on my mind. Still, Mayuri had to save me. Even in a dream, that's unacceptable. I'm the one who saves her. That's the way it should be. Besides, Mayuri's not smart enough to talk about time travel like that. I sit up and look around the room. She's right where I expect to find her. In front of the TV, watching a Rainet Kakeru DVD. On the screen, the Upa riding Kakeru's shoulder is screaming something unintelligible.
マユシーもウーパとお友達になりたいな。
Look at her sitting there all spaced out. Mayuri needs my protection. That dream was wrong. I chug a Dr. P and check my phone. No new emails. I sent Taitor a mail several hours ago, just to make sure he really isn't Suzuha's father. He hasn't replied yet. Obviously, Daru and the others don't know that I changed the past. And we get a call from Ferris.
おーい、今日もだ。
にゃーフェリスだにゃ。
お前か。秋葉ルミホ。
誰のことかにゃ。
Hmm? I could have sworn her real name was Akiha Rumiho. Don't tell me. Could the D-mail have changed that too?
フェイリスはフェイリスにゃ。それ以外の名前は持たないにゃ。
はいはい、そうですね。マナはフェイリスだよな。これは失礼。
Of course, she's just being her usual self.
それで
If Ferris is calling me, it might be about the IBN 5100. She did promise to help find us one.
今日まは派手に動きすぎたにゃ。すでに包囲網が敷かれたにゃ。
はあ
More of Ferris's usual nonsense.
四天王が動き始めたにゃ。もう逃げられないにゃ。
そうか。 だが四天王ごときで俺を止められると思うなら秋葉は血の海になるぞ。
四天王の後には裏四天王もいるにゃ。その後には白血衆がいるし、さらにブラックエンジェル12も控えてるにゃ。
そんなにいるのか。インフレしすぎだろ。
それだけ奴らは本気だってことにゃ。今日な、残念だけどチェックメイトにゃ。
いやまだだ。あれさえ手に入れれば形勢を逆転できる。 IBN5100 の情報は未だ手に入らないのか。
にゃー、ごめんな。世界中の情報をかき集めてるけどまだ見つかってないにゃ。
What? So she has no progress to report?
急いでくれ。俺にはもう時間がない。
分かったにゃ。見つかった時はフェイリスから連絡するにゃ。今日ま、それまで死なないでにゃ。
ああ、死ぬものか。エル、プサイ、コング、ルーテ。
She hung up before I could finish. Damn it. That's why I hate talking to Ferris. Okay, so 2 observations there. One, these are two concerns that I actually had regarding not the most recent change, but the previous one, the one that Ferris sent 10 years ago. I was wondering 2 things. One, was our relationship with Ferris the same? And 2, was she actually looking for the IBN 5100 because it looked like the context of our meeting had changed? And we just got the answer on both of those questions. So, on the one hand, it looks like the relationship between Okabe and Ferris is pretty much the same. That is to say, she still likes to sort of out-chuny the chuny, which, you know, I still, I kind of like that dynamic, so I'm glad it has survived. And second, it does indeed look like that the context around our meeting, when we made that change, remained intact. So Okabe did indeed go there to ask her to search for the IBN 5100, and she is still actively looking for it. So that's good to know. Let's continue on. Anyway, moving on. This time around, my search for an IBN 5100 is going poorly. Actually, I suppose I should consider myself lucky for having found one so easily for the first time. I mean, the IBN 5100 is practically an urban legend. There are people, like Moeka, who've spent months searching with no success. Last time, it barely took me 3 days to reach Yanabayashi Shrine, almost as if something was guiding me there. Yes, that's still very suspicious, by the way. And I'm still very curious how the change with Lukaku led us to not getting it. I'm still very curious about that. Because don't think I've forgotten the whole... we were told if a young man comes by and asks for this, just to give it to him. So, I mean, I remember at the time, that was incredibly suspicious. I think you're meant to see that as incredibly suspicious, so... Clearly something is amiss here. It was fate. No, it was the choice of Steins Gate. Yes, and what is Steins Gate if not fate itself, I guess. That's why its loss is so painful.
さすが幻って言われる PC だよな。
Daru's sitting at his computer, like always.
アットちゃん情報だけどさ、何年か前にコレクターがうん千万円出してまで手に入れたって話もあるらしいよ。IBN5100 やばい、マジやばい。
そこまでプレミアがつくとは。
And people must know their secret. They're all after the data in CERN's mainframe.
僕的にはすごく不思議なんだよね。実際なんでそんな値段がつくのかマジで謎。もともと高かったっていうのもあるかもしれないけど、当時の値段で2万ドルぐらいしたらしいから。
$20,000. $20,000. That is expensive.
それにしても手に入らなさすぎな気はする。確かにいいマシンだけど、それはあくまで当時としてはだし、そんな血眼になってまで手に入れる価値があるとは思えねえ。誰かが買い占めてたりして。
The harder something is to obtain, the stronger the desire for it becomes. That's how people are. And that's exactly how I feel right now. In the depths of CERN, completely isolated from the outside, lies a database coded with an IBM 5100. What secrets are sleeping there? Could it contain the data from CERN's time machine research? Could there be proof that the Committee of 300 exists? The desire to know grows stronger by the day. It's not just about plunging the world into chaos anymore. We need the power to oppose CERN's evil ambitions. And then there's that threatening email to consider. Daru is confident that CERN won't find us, but I can't afford to take that for granted. After all, we're up against the brightest minds in the world, the scientists who invented the World Wide Web. And they're backed by a secret organization more powerful than any nation. We're way out of our league here. They'd have no trouble at all crushing our puny lab if they desired. That's why we need a trump card to hold against them. But without an IBM 5100, we can't move forward. I'm getting restless.
うお、なんじゃこりゃ。
Daru suddenly lurches forward to stare at his monitor.
どうした？
いや、こんなのありえないんですけど。
どういうことか説明しろ。
今セルンのルート券ゲットしようといろいろ調べてて、なんかやけにセルンのデータベースの情報が落ちてくんのが早いなと思ってたんだけど、これすげえよ。なぜかこのビル周辺からセルンまで直通の光回線が通ってる。しかも一本じゃなくてたくさん束になってるお。
Yeah, okay, so this one took me a bit of a little while to comprehend, so let's go through it again.
直通とは普通とは何が違う？
文字通り直通。こっからフランスにあるセルンまでマジで光ケーブルが直接つながってる。
Yeah, so for a little while I was thinking Daru can't be saying what I think he's saying. But in retrospect, I'm pretty sure he is saying what I think he's saying. So let's hear a bit more.
普通の場合は違うのか？
全然違うっつーの。
Daru calls up the National Assembly of France's website. Then he brings up the command prompt and hammers out some commands.
ほら見てみ。これはこの PC からフランスの国民議会のサイトを見るときの経路なわけ。この PC の IP アドレスが0番のとこな。で、その後日本国内のいろんな箇所を経由してからフランスに飛んで、そこからさらに国民議会のサイトが置いてあるところまでフランス国内のコンピュータを経由してる。国民議会のサイトを見るためには16の経路が必要なわけ。
Yeah, it does say 17, but I'm pretty sure it is discounting this 15 here that says request timed out. So, yeah, as someone who isn't, I use technology and I like technology, computers, that sort of thing. I'm not a tech guy, so a lot of it, a good portion of this is probably lost on me. And You know, seeing all this sort of stuff, it's a bit mind-boggling, really. Just how humans have managed to create something like the World Wide Web and how it all works. It's, you know, it's the sort of thing I just take for granted, and it's just kind of hard to understand the scope of it sometimes.
平均転送速度は 300ms ぐらい。海外ならこんぐらいが普通。わかりやすく言うと、日本からフランスのサイトを見に行くための道は限られてるわけ。誰でも同じ道を通る。これはフランスだけじゃなくて他の国でも同じだし、日本国内でだって10経路ぐらいは通るんだよ。じゃあ次にセルンを見てみるお。
Daru calls up CERN's homepage on the browser. Then he displays the route like last time. And the result is...
経路はたったの1。
Unlike before, the signal doesn't pass through any intermediate servers. The PC we're using, its registered name is Akihabara PC, is connected directly to CERN in France.
しかも転送速度は普通の数百倍だ。むちゃくちゃ速い。こんな数字国内でも出ないよ。向こうはフランスなのに。
なぜ直通なんだ？こんなことありえるのか？
クラックする前からこの状態だったのだぜ。僕は何もいじってねえもん。
このビルには以前からセルンとのホットラインがあるわけか。偶然とは思えないな。これはシュタインズゲートの選択である可能性が。
Yeah, so it seems that they're saying that there is a fiber optic cable from CERN in France directly to this CRT repair shop. And that's suspicious. Doesn't, what's the level above suspicious? That suspicious doesn't even describe that anymore. It's we're a step beyond that, and I can't think of the right word for it.
普通だったら絶対にありえない。日本のデータ通信網とは完全に独立したケーブルが1本だけここからセルンまでつながってるなんて。
Daru's so excited he interrupted me.
そんなもんを日本やフランスの通信会社が設置するとは思えないし。となると
設置したのはセルン自身か。
Daru gulps and nods. Cold sweat oozes from his brow. I feel a chill as well. CERN might be able to see everything we're doing. No, maybe CERN has been expecting us for years. How could that be? The answer is simple. John Titor claims that CERN completed their time machine in 2034. Just 2 years later, the world is a dystopia under their rule. Maybe the CERN of 2034 considers our opposition in 2010 a threat. Maybe they use their time machine to travel to 2000 and install a fiber optic cable to track our every move. So that, yes, that, I mean, if what Daru's saying is true, I mean, that seems crazy. Well, let's continue on a bit. It's entirely possible. Has the invention of the time machine started an intertemporal war? Oh yeah, and just when I saw intertemporal war, I just... that hit me pretty hard, because just trying to even think about what something like that would entail is... It's a lot. Okay, so I was thinking... If CERN just wanted to track our movements or spy on us, I feel like there would have had to been better ways to do it than going back in time however long and laying down a fiber optic line from France to Japan. So I don't know, maybe there isn't, but I was thinking something like maybe the existence of that line is to get data or something from our own time machine. Something like that. Because, as I said, you know, if you could just have a spy watch us or something. This whole fiber optic cable thing seems more specific than that to me. I could be wrong. Yeah, let's just continue on. If so, what can we do? Our enemy might be stronger than even I can imagine. No, I mustn't lose heart. I need to think positive.
でもさ、この直通回線があるおかげで LHC をこの PC からでも使えるようになったお。
Oh yeah, this one took me aback too. So we can now control the LHC remotely. I guess well, for one, I'm not a scientist at CERN, so I don't know how easy that could be, but let's just say for the sake of our argument that yes, they can control the LHC remotely. Would that be a good idea though? Wouldn't... Again, I don't know about the LHC, so I could just be wrong. But I have a feeling that, I mean, maybe there aren't people there 24/7, but surely if the LHC were used, it's a huge machine. Wouldn't they be aware of that immediately or something close to immediately? Oh, hey, someone's turned on our giant machine and used it. I don't know. It seems a bit odd that they're bringing this up, but I think that means that we're going to be using it remotely at some point. But I don't know. Let's just keep going.
本当にやったのか。
すごいよ、ダルくん。
Mayuri pauses her DVD and comes up beside me.
これだけの転送速度だからさ、遠隔操作もタイムラグほぼゼロだお。まだ実際に試してないけど。
That's right. Even if this is some kind of CERN trap, we might be able to make use of it. They're still vulnerable to our attack.
LHC ってあの20キロ以上ある大きなトンネルでしょ。結局何をするトンネルなんだっけ。
要所を加速して衝突させる。
あ、そうそう、ミニブラックホールを作れるんだよね。
公式発表じゃミニブラックホールは陽子衝突の過程で副産物的に生まれる可能性があるだけって言ってたけど、実は違ったんだわな。
極秘の内部資料によれば、初めからブラックホールを作るために建設された装置だった。
But we still don't know exactly how they do it. We need to think of a way to...
岡部。
Krisu suddenly emerges from the development room. She was cooped up in there all morning. Her expression is unusually grave.
どうした？
やっと会が出た。
Okay, so this is officially where things get complex and, well, things have already been complex in certain respects, but the ideas introduced in this part are, well, they don't sit well with me for multiple reasons, but we'll get into it. Figured what out?
電話レンジの仕組みのことよ。
解明したのか？
Krisu nods. She still hasn't smiled.
あくまで私がわかる範囲で導き出した仮説だけど、今話してた LHC とも大きく関係する話。
LHC は世界一大きな電子レンジである。そういう例えを挙げたのはお前だ、クリスティーナ。
そう、その通りだった。予想は間違ってなかった。電話レンジはとんでもない化け物よ。
A monster?
こんな雑居ビルの一室に置いといていいものじゃない。もちろんネガティブな意味で。
Krisu clutches her arms as if to keep from trembling.
具体的に説明してもらおう。
電子レンジってもともとはレーダーの研究の結果偶然生まれたことは知ってる？
I believe we may have mentioned that at some point. Daru and I nod. Mayuri shakes her head. We read up on all that back when the phone wave name subject to change started acting weird. I want to say this is a typo. I think they mean when instead of then, but yeah.
発生する電磁波の周波数は 2.45GHz のマイクロ波。電話レンジに使われているのは業務用の強力なやつだから出力は1500から2000ワットくらいある。で、ここからが重要。
Krisu goes on to explain that the electromagnetic waves output by the microwave are somehow connected to the electromagnetic waves output by the phone. In fact, you could say they fuse together.
確かにダルの設計図によれば、電子レンジと携帯、2つの機器に共通する電磁波を飛ばすためのリード線は、マグネトロンの陰極と陽極にそれぞれ結線してある。
Oh, I should probably... Yeah, magnetron... magnetron, a type of vacuum tube used in microwave ovens and radar, it is known for producing strong microwaves. It also sounds like a transformer. There were a couple tips, I think. I'll have to... I need to remember for the reddish, pinkish color, and then I'll need to look them up again. On one hand, we have the microwave's super strong electromagnetic waves, originally a byproduct of the military's research into radar technology. On the other, we have the cell phone's standardized electromagnetic waves, a frequency now ubiquitous throughout the world. What happens when you fuse those two waves?
どっちも電波を使うことに関しては一致している。それがどんな範囲でどんな強さで影響を及ぼすのかはちゃんと調べたわけじゃないし、私は専門家でもないから想像がつかないけど、仮に携帯電話を踏み台にして周囲何百キロっていう広範囲に影響を及ぼすような軍事用電磁波がまき散らされたとするなら。
Yeah, this one took me a second to understand as well. So essentially, you have the military-grade electromagnetic waves of the microwave, but using the cell phone essentially to spread those military-grade waves across the area. So, I think I understand what she's saying now.
秋葉原どころか、東京が丸ごと電子レンジの中と同じ状態になる。
I have trouble sort of visualizing what that would look like. But then again, it's electromagnetic waves, so I'm not sure it'd be something visual in that sense. But yes, it does sound quite horrifying.
中にいる人が死に至るまでの時間は体重差にもよるけど、平均しておよそ3分。
Although all things considered, this sort of death machine, if Okabe was a real mad scientist, I feel like this would actually be right up his alley. So, you know, he's keeping to form there.
マジ？じゃあ電話レンジって大量破壊兵器ってことじゃね？
Is it really that powerful?
あの電話レンジの中で起きてることを教えてあげるわ。レンジ内の目に見えない水素に対し電磁波のエネルギー順位が上昇する。これは通常の電子レンジの機能。そこに携帯電話の拡散型電磁波が加わることによってレンジ内のあらゆる素粒子が 衝突を繰り返すごとに質量を増していって高速に近い円運動を始める。それはいわば加速器のようなもの。
加速器？
It's literally the same as the LHC.
じゃあ LHC がミニブラックホールを生成するために作られたのなら、やはりこの電話レンジカッコ仮もミニブラックホールを生み出している。
Krisu doesn't deny it.
こんなに安定して動作しているのが奇跡よ。ただまだわからない点があって、ミニブラックホールが生成されたとしてもそれは一瞬で蒸発してしまうはずなの。
Got a mail from Suzuha. Oneself. It's easy to pretend to be someone you're not. Ultimately, however, there's no escaping the contradictions between your false self and the real you. It's a paradox, and paradoxes can't hold. I tried to tell myself that I didn't need anyone, that forming bonds would only hurt. But somehow I ended up joining your circle of friends. I still don't know if that was for the best, but no, I'm sure it was. Without you, I would have given up on ever finding my dad. I don't know why I wrote all this. I guess what I'm trying to say is thanks. And that is a very sweet, wholesome message. Thank you, Suzuha. And we are going to reply, are we sharing confessions now? Be careful to whom you expose your innermost feelings. They may use them against you. Well, that is probably true. I do think Okabe cares enough that he sort of understands the message.
でもこの電話レンジはどうやらそうじゃない。バナナや唐揚げがゼリーマンになっていることからそれは明らか。 LHC と同じようにミニブラックホールはカーブラックホールに変化している。
タイターの理論によれば、ミニブラックホールにカーブラックホール効果を生み出すためには電子注入が必要だった。
その注入される電子がどこから来ているのか、それがわからないの。 LHC はリフターによってブラックホールに電子を注入して重力場をコントロールしていた。リフターに代替するものがこの電話レンジのどこかにある。
どこかって？
だからわからないのよ。
Yeah, I think at this point I said something like, I wonder, does whatever is acting as the lifter, does it have to be attached to the microwave? Or the phone wave, I should say. Or can it be something nearby? That was kind of my question. Either way, I don't know what it could be, but yeah. So I guess that's what it comes down to. All Krisu's explanation does is confirm our hypothesis that the phone wave name subject to change functions the same as the LHC.
LHC とは何か復習してみる必要がありそうだな。
It's time for our LHC Moe guy to shine.
LHC はラージハドロンコライダーの略だね。和訳すると大型ハドロン衝突型加速器ってところかな。
ハドロン？
素粒子の名前。
でこいつはフランスとスイスにまたがる形で作られた円形の巨大地下トンネルで、全長は約27キロ、地下100メートルの深さにある。トンネルの中には2本のリングが通ってて、リングの中は超低温の真空状態なんだお。つまり宇宙環境を再現してるわけ。マジ燃える。陽子の加速は隣接する施設から線形加速器陽子シンクロトロンブースター SPS で段階的に加速されて、最後に LHC に注入され敷き詰められた超電動磁石による最後の加速を行うんだ。最終的には高速の 99.999991% にまで達するを。 LHC やばい。電話レンジほどじゃないけどな。
Huh.
でもって 加速させた陽子を1秒間に10億から100億回ぐらい衝突させる。そこで起きる高エネルギー反応について観測するのが LHC 計画の目的って一応公表されてる。大嘘だったけど。
Didn't they? Is the LHC? Is that the place where doing this experiment? Did they create new elements or something like that? I remember hearing something about that a long time ago, or was that something else? I don't really recall. I guess that about covers it.
そこでラボ面諸君に聞きたい。我が電話レンジカッコ仮によってセルンを出し抜き、物理的タイムトラベルは可能かどうか。
問題は2点ある。局所場指定とリフター。
局所場指定については前も言った通りだ。D メールはきちんと指定先に届いている。
検証もなしに結論を出すのは危険よ。
Agreed.
リフターの代わりを担っているものについてはすでにあることは分かっている。その何かを見つければいいだけの話だ。
見つけられるとは思えない。この小さな電子レンジの中を私たちはもう何日もかけて調べまくっているけど、ヒントさえ手に入らない。もし仮に見つけ出したとしても、注入する電子量の調整にはさらに膨大な時間がいる。
膨大ってどんぐらい？
One second, please. Okay.
セルンは9年をかけても解決できていない。
We're just amateurs, so it's bound to take even longer. Wait, I have an idea.
ならば発想を逆転させてみよう。セルンは人間を物理的にタイムトラベルさせようとしたが、注入電子量の調整がうまくいかず、得意点を裸にできていない。それはこの電話レンジカッコ仮も同じことだ。ゼリーマンにならず、無事に送れるデータ量は36バイトプラスアルファだけ。そこで逆に考えるんだ。一人の人間を丸ごとデータ化し、それを36バイトプラスアルファまで圧縮してしまえばいいと考えるんだ。そうすれば D メールと同じようにリング得意点を通過できるではないか。
人間を丸ごとデータ化ってそんなことできるわけないじゃん。もしできたとしてもそのデータ容量天文学的な数字になるんじゃね？それをどうやってたったの36バイトまで圧縮するん？バカなの？死ぬの？
いいアイデアだと思ったんだが。
I guess it's not that easy. The barriers to time travel are just too high. I turned to Kurisu, meaning to ask for her opinion, and then I realized that her expression has changed dramatically. Her eyes are wide as saucers, and her mouth is hanging open.
そうか。それなら、もしかしたら。
She pauses for a second, and then...
できるかもしれない。
Do... what? Time travel? It's hard to believe what Kurisu is saying, even though it was my idea in the first place.
本気で言っているのか？
Kurisu grins triumphantly in response.
少なくともデータ容量の超圧縮については簡単よ。LHC で作ったブラックホールを利用すればいい。ブラックホールは飲み込んだあらゆるものを超圧縮してしまうんだから。圧縮するものが単なるデータなら人間みたいに潰されることで命が失われることもない。
I get it. But wait, can we really pull off such a stunt? And besides...
人間のデータ化についてはどうするつもりだ？
サイエンス誌に私の論文が載ったっていうことは知ってるわよね。
なぜいきなり自慢を始めるのだ？
その論文を読んだことは？
I haven't.
おう、その号のサイエンス誌ならスキャンして撮ってあるお。
Daru opens up his image folder, scrolls past tons of 2D porn, and opens up the scanned image. Sure enough, there's Kurisu's name in big English letters.
論文のタイトルは側頭葉に蓄積された記憶に関する神経パルス信号の解析。
側頭葉神経パルス。
あれオカリン知らなかったん？
いや待て、からかうのはよせ。このタイトルは物理学というより脳科学の分野では。
Brain science. The scientific study of the brain. No, really? This field incorporates biology, genetics, medicine, psychology, and electrical engineering.
脳科学専攻ですけど何か。
What? I can't believe it. From the way she talks about the particle accelerators and time travel theory, I was sure she had to be a physicist.
いや、それはまあいいとして。それとタイムトラベルとどんな関係が？
人間丸ごとのデータ化は無理でも、人間の記憶丸ごとのデータ化なら可能っていうこと。
Okay, I'm not gonna say it, but I am reminded of a certain sci-fi horror game right now. If you know, you know, but Converting memories to data? Krisu proceeds to explain her thesis. Memories accumulate in something called the parahippocampal gyrus, or hippocampus, which is located in the temporal lobe of the brain. But what exactly are memories? Krisu's thesis analyzes that question from a brain science perspective. All the brain's functions manifest as electrical signals running through its neurons. Even memories are written to the hippocampus by electrical signals. Krisu analyzed how specific electrical signals correspond to specific memories. The mechanism by which humans recall memories can be likened to a word association game. You begin with a vague abstract image, which calls successive images of increasing clarity.
タンスの引き出しの一つ一つには小さい箱がびっしり入ってるの。で、そのたくさんの箱の中にもさらに小さな小箱がいっぱい。そんな風に想像してもらえばいい。
Gersu discovered the number of retrieval commands, nerve impulses used to search up memories, is surprisingly low. Out of hundreds of millions of nerve impulse patterns in the brain, only a few thousand are related to memory. It was the successful analysis of these patterns that earned Krisu and her research team critical acclaim in the scientific community.
この研究単体だけじゃ岡部の言ったアイデアとは全然関係なさそうだけど、もう一つあるの。私の通ってる大学、ビクトル・コンドリア大学の精神生理学研究所がビジュアルリビルディング、略して VR 技術っていうのを何年か前に開発した。
VR, you say?
簡単に説明すると、ビデオカメラなんかの映像機器に映した風景の映像信号を神経パルス信号にコンバートする技術のこと。
So I mentioned this the first time I went through this, and let me see if I can explain it a bit better. I've heard, and this may be what she was saying, let's see, here. This little analogy and this statement here, this might be what I'm thinking of. But I heard something like memories as such. When you remember something, you're not actually remembering the event. Rather, when you remember something, it's more like you're remembering the remembrance. And each time you remember something, it goes another layer. So you remember the remembrance of the remembrance, and it kind of goes further and further down. So sort of like she said, you're kind of recreating it in your head as you remember it. And you know, that leads to the idea that you know, every time you remember it, you're recreating it, and so there are moments where there's risk for sort of corruption to occur. And you know, that's why memories are actually pretty dang unreliable at times. And I can recall hearing stories about how, some of their most, or what they believe to be their most important memories can actually have been changed from what actually occurred back then. It's just over time, they've started to remember it wrong. And yet they still have the 100% belief that they remembered exactly as it was. Something like that. If I might be wrong there, so if you've heard differently, I'm sure you're probably more correct than me. It's just something I heard a while back that I found interesting. Let's look at this for a second. That brings us to VR. Despite the name, it does not refer to virtual reality, but to a technology we authored as visual rebuilding. Our goal with VR is to aid those who have deeply inconvenienced by blindness and other visual afflictions. It's a bit interesting how, they're throwing a lot here. Turing test. Why is that there? Prefrontal lobotomy sounds ominous here. But if you asked me to explain what this says, I would have no idea. Okay.
逆に神経パルスを普通の電気信号にコンバートすることもできる。で、この VR 技術と私たちの研究を組み合わせるとどうなると思う？
まさか
人間の記憶のデータか？
それだけじゃない。記憶の移植、バックアップ、外部保存、そういうことができるようになる。
Okay, this is where things I started to feel pretty nervous. At this point I'm starting to feel nervous because we're getting into some very sketchy territory here. It's like science fiction. Yeah, no kidding. In a sense, this technology could be used to copy a person's soul. Yeah, I guess that's one way to put it. According to Karisu, some religious groups strongly opposed this research, as you might expect. On the other hand, the medical community is ecstatic about the possibilities. In any case, it's amazing that my assistant here was able to make such an incredible discovery. Of course, she did have a university supporting her, but still.
つまりお前はこう言いたいのだな。D メールと同じ要領で被験者の記憶を含む脳内情報を光信号として取り出し、それを LHC で発生させたミニブラックホールを利用して超圧縮36バイトプラスアルファのサイズにまでして電話レンジカッコ仮で生成したカーブラックホールのリング特異点を通過させ、携帯電話を通して過去の被験者自身の脳に記憶だけをぶち込む。
どういうこと？
記憶だけの時間跳躍。物理的転送によるタイムトラベルと区別するために、仮にこっちはタイムリープと定義しましょうか。肉体を含めた物理的転送ではなく、記憶だけを過去へと跳躍させる。あまりに突飛すぎて誰もまともに考えようとしなかった方法。
She's right. The idea is ridiculous, which is exactly why none of the geniuses at CERN could come up with it. But this union of physics and brain science and psychophysiology will make the impossible possible. It transfers memories to the past via cell phone to time leap.
ポイントは転送するのは記憶だけってこと。
Yeah.
人格や意識についてはこれに含まない。
どういうことだ？ SF 小説でよくあるタイムリープとは何か違うのか？
SF とかでよくあるタイムリープは意識、人格、記憶の全てが跳躍している。でも意識や人格まで含めると データ量は膨大になるだろうし、そもそも私の研究室が解析できたのは記憶の部分だけだから。意識人格と記憶は別と考えて。記憶はコンピューターでいうところの画像データや映像データと同じ。それに対して意識と人格はいわば OS ということになる。
容量ってことなら OS より画像や映像の方が大きい場合もあるじゃん。
あくまで例えよ。そもそも人格や意識って未だにどこにあるのか、どんな仕組みでそれが成立しているのかはっきりしないの。だからそれをデータ化して移植するのは少なくとも私には無理。
記憶だけの場合、どんなデメリットが予想される？
パーソナリティは記憶だけで形成されるわけじゃない。だから記憶を転送しても転送先の意識や人格に依存する。
Windows で言うと Vista の入ってる PC で作ったデータを95の入ってる PC にコピペするって感じか？
Mindors, fictional, the most widely used operating system in the world.
最新の OS で作られたデータが旧式の OS でちゃんと動作するかはわからないわけ。何らかの不具合が出るかも。それに例えば小学生の頃の自分に今の記憶を転送した場合、記憶と肉体のギャップのせいで精神的な障害が起きるかもしれない。
Yeah, we're getting into some scary territory here.
いずれにせよ、過去の自分の体に転送することが前提条件だという認識で正しいか？
Yeah, this was another thing. Chris, who nods at my question.
D メールと同じように携帯電話を介して行われる跳躍だから。正確に言うと過去の自分の体でなおかつ携帯を持ってる時点までしか跳躍できないと思う。
This was definitely something that, you know, I'm sure could have been brought up. And it's good that they're addressing it. Because that, again, potentially disturbing situations. There was an exception in Lukaku's case where we sent the email to a pager, but that doesn't apply to time leaping.
それに飛ばされた先が同一人物じゃないと、例えれば電気信号がマッチングせずに弾かれてしまう恐れも。
Yeah, but you're not saying that it's impossible.
そもそも他人の体に入っちゃったら大変だしね。まあ僕的には可愛いおにゃの子の中なら喜んで入るけど。
Thanks for that, Daru. We really needed that. Is this guy capable of non-perverted thought?
うへへじゃないわよ、バカ。弾かれるだけならいいけど、もしかすると深刻な人格障害まで起きる恐れがあるのよ。どんな結果になるかわからない人類初の試みだから。
That makes us pioneers. I like it.
はっきりしているのは、自分が生まれる以前へは絶対にいけないということ。自分が二人同時に存在することはないっていうこと。だから。
Yeah, this was it. For some reason, the first time I read this, it took me a while to understand, but I get what she's saying here. Essentially, two things that what is it? What would the proper way to say this be? Sort of stereotypical time travel problems, or something like that. She's saying with this method, these two stereotypical time travel problems would not occur. So yeah.
タイムパラドックスが発生する心配はない。自分が生まれる前に親を殺すことはできないの。
Yeah, that's a better way to say it. Thank you, Krisu.
携帯がブラックホールとホワイトホールの代わりということだな。
Okay, so here's where I was confused then and I'm confused now. So how would this work? So we send the data to a phone. We first we convert memories into data. I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but I guess Krisu has some kind of program or device that can do it, or she can get a device that can do that. I don't know. So let's say we can do that. We can convert the memories to data. We can send it into the phone wave, and that data gets compressed by the black hole and gets sent 36 bytes back to a phone. How does that data then... So let's say it's like a D-mail. It gets on a phone. The person from the past opens up the phone. How does that data then get from the phone into the person? That's my question. And I remember at the time I recalled this here. Let's go back. This one right here. It's this sort of weird nonsensical D-mail that we got, or I don't know if it's a D-mail. It's an email we got, and there was an attachment that it was just static or something. And I was thinking, oh wait, maybe this was one of those things. But a couple problems with that. One, when we opened it, nothing really happened to us. It's not like we got memories. The Okabe we started with, it's not like we got memories at that moment. And two, this looks more than 36 bytes. So I'm not entirely sure if that's what this is, but that came to mind at the time when I recorded last. Yeah, so I'm a bit unsure about the details here, but let's keep going. It seems like a strange coincidence that cell phones would be the medium of time travel, but really, could it have been anything else? These days, people wear their phones like a second skin. No other medium could reliably deliver the memories to their intended target. The more I think about it, the more I realize that this was meant to be. I whip out my phone and place it to my ear.
俺だ。すべての点が一本の線でつながった。ああ、計画はこれより最終段階に入る。無論、オペレーションベルダンディのことだ。
Verdandi? Sorry, Norse people. The middle child of the three Norns, the goddesses of fate in Norse mythology. Three sisters tend to the world tree Yggdrasil, which has roots in Urd's fountain. Verdandi, specifically, is the Norn of the present, popularized in Japan by a certain goddess manga. I don't know what that is.
クリスティーナにはまんまと騙されたが、彼女のラボメン加入は我らにとってまさにシュタインズゲートの選択通りだったというわけだ。案ずるな。うまくやってみせるさ。今の俺たちは無敵だ。エルプサイコングル。
I put away my phone and turned to Kurisu.
今言った通りだ。クリスティーナよ。これよりオペレーションベルダンディを開始する。
いや、少しはどういうことか説明しろよ。
お前の言うタイムリープ案を全面採用すると言っているのだ。ちなみにここまで俺をその気にさせておいて、脳内情報のデータ化はここではできませんなどとは言わせんぞ。
まあ、秋葉原ならパーツも揃ってるからなんとかなるとは思うけど。
決まりだ。これよりお前を作戦主任に任命する。俺やダルをこき使って構わん。人類史上初のタイムリープマシンを完成させるぞ。
Kurisu nods, her eyes shining with a fierce, hungry light. As I thought, she's a scientist to the core. Okay, we're gonna call it there. I hope. Once again, I do apologize that I wasn't able to get you the sort of first blind reaction there, but really, this makes me feel much better. The first time through, I was rambly, I was going on tangents, and I made a lot of reading mistakes too, where I had to reread it. So where you know, I could have just uploaded my first attempt. I would have just felt bad about it. So I'd much rather just do it again and go ahead with a version I don't feel bad about. So I hope you're okay with that. Hopefully that won't happen again. It's just, unfortunately, my schedule recently it's such that I really haven't had time outside of late at night. But I just, well, I'm sure with more forward planning I could try and get around that, but you know, it's tough because there are times where I don't know, is this going to be a shorter episode or is it going to be sort of like this one, which is already more than an hour? And so the only time I know where I have enough time to, you know, to just be comfortable with that, so I'm not rushing or having to stop early, and where I can end at a place that feels right, it usually has been late at night. So, well, we'll deal with it. Hopefully I won't have to do this again. In any case, I'm the Worm. This has been Steins Gate. I'm definitely feeling very nervous. These whole transferring memories to data, sending memories back, overwriting other memories. Some of these potential situations that could occur could be somewhat disturbing, to me at least, but we'll deal with it. We'll go through it together. Hope you're all having a good time, and I hope to see you next time, alright? Have a good one. Bye-bye.